Little planet, big planet, small planet, small. Y'all ever play Little Big Planet, the game on PlayStation for all? Hello everyone, my name's Sons Boy and welcome back to The Little Prince. Today we're reading chapters 15 to 22, pages 40 to 65. So without further ado, and let me move my mouse away so I don't accidentally click stop recording or some vibration stops it. Let's learn about the sixth planet. Speaking of, chapter 15. The sixth planet was 10 times bigger than the last. It was inhabited by an old gentleman who wrote enormous books. "Ah, here comes an explorer," he exclaimed when he caught sight of the little prince, who was feeling a little winded and sat down on the desk. He had already traveled so much and so far. "Where do you come from?" the old gentleman asked him. What's that big book?" asked the little prince. What do you do with it?" "I'm a geographer," the gentleman answered. "And what's a geographer?" "A scholar who knows where the seas are, and the rivers, the cities, and the mountains, and the desert." "That's very interesting," the little prince said. "You're at last is someone who has a real profession." And he gazed around the geographer's planet. He had never seen a planet so majestic. "Your planet is very beautiful," he said. Does it have any oceans?" "I couldn't say," said the geographer. "Oh?" The little prince was disappointed. "And mountains?" "I couldn't say," said the geographer. "And cities and rivers and deserts?" "I couldn't tell you that either," the geographer said. "But you're a geographer." "That's right," said the geographer, "but I'm not an explorer. There's not one explorer in my planet. The geographer doesn't go out to describe cities, rivers, mountains, seas, oceans, and deserts. A geographer is too important to go wandering about. He never leaves his study, but he receives the explorers here. He mentions them and writes down what they remember. And if the memories of one of the explorers seems interesting to him, then the geographer conducts an inquiry into the explorer's moral character." "Why is that?" "Because an explorer who told lies and caused disasters in geography books, as would an explorer who drank too much." "Why is that?" the little prince asked again. "Because drunkards see double, and the geographer will write down 2 mountains where there was only 1. "I know someone," said the little prince, "who would be a bad explorer." "Possibly. Well, when there's an explorer, moral character seems to be a good one, and investigation is made into his discovery." "By going to see it?" "No, that would be too complicated. But the explorer is required to furnish proofs. For instance, if he claims to have discovered a large mountain, he is required to bring back large stones from it." The geographer suddenly grew excited. "But you come from far away. You're an explorer. You must describe your planet for me." And the geographer, having opened his logbook, sharpened his pencil. Explorers' reports are first recorded in the pencil. Ink is used after proofs have been furnished. Well, said the geographer expectantly. "Oh, where I live," said the little prince, "is not very interesting. It's so small. I have 3 volcanoes, 2 active and 1 extinct. But you never know." "You never know," said the geographer. "I also have a flower." "Why don't record flowers?" the geographer said. "Why not? It's the prettiest thing." "Because flowers are too ephemeral." "What does ephemeral mean?" "Geographies," said the geographer, "are the finest books of all. They never go out of fashion. It's extremely rare for a mountain to change position. It's extremely rare for an ocean to be drained of its water. We write eternal things." "But extinct volcanoes can come back to life," the little prince interrupted. "Does that mean ephemeral? What does ephemeral mean?" "Whether volcanoes are extinct or active comes from the same thing for us," said the geographer. "For us, what counts as a mountain, that doesn't change." "What does ephemeral mean?" repeated the little prince, who had never in all his life let go of the question once he had asked it. "It means which is threatened by immediate disappearance." "What, is my flower threatened by immediate disappearance?" "Of course. My flower is ephemeral," the little prince said to himself, "as he was only 4 thorns which would offend herself against the world, and I've left her all alone where I live." And that was the first impulse of regret. Then he plucked up his courage again. "Where would you advise me to visit?" he asked. "The planet Earth," the geographer answered. "It was a good reputation." And the little prince went on his way, thinking about his flower. Chapter 16. The 7th planet, then, was the Earth. The Earth is not just another planet. It contains 111 kings, including, of course, the African kings, 7,000 geographers, 909,000 businessmen, 7.5 million drunkards, 311 million vain men, in other words, and about 2 billion grown-ups. To give you a notion of the Earth's dimensions, I can tell you that before the invention of electricity, it was necessary to maintain over a whole of the 6 continents a veritable army of 462,511 lamplighters. Seen from one distance, has made a splendid effect. The movements of his army were ordered like those of a ballet. Thus came the turn of the lamplighters of New Zealand and Australia. Then these, having lit their street lamps, would go home to sleep. Then it would be the turn to lamplighters of China and Siberia to form their steps in the lamplighters' ballet, and they would vanish into wings. And then came the turn of the lamplighters of Russia and India, then those of Africa and Europe, and then those of South America and North America, and they never missed their cues and appearances on stage and awe-inspiring. Only the lamplighter of the single street lamp was the North Pole and the colleague, and the single street lamp at the South Pole led carefree, idle lives. They worked twice a year. Chapter 16. 17, sorry. Chapter 17. Trying to be witty leads to lying, more or less. What I just told you about the lamplighters isn't completely true, and I risk giving a false idea of our planet to those who don't know it. Men occupy very little space on Earth. If the 2 billion inhabitants of the globe were to stand close together, that might, for someone, big public event, they would only fit into a city block that was 20 miles long and 20 miles wide. You could crowd all of humanity into the smallest Pacific islet. Grown-ups, of course, won't believe you. They're convinced that they take up more room. They consider themselves as important as baobabs. So, you should advise them to make their own calculations. They love numbers, and they'll enjoy it. And don't waste your time on this extra task. It's unnecessary. Trust me. So once we reached Earth, the little prince was quite surprised not to see anyone. He was beginning to fear he had come to the wrong planet, when the moon color looped uncoiled in the sand. "Good evening," the little prince said, just in case. "Good evening." "Good evening," said the snake. "What planet have I landed on?" asked the little prince. "On the planet Earth in Africa," the snake replied. "Ah, are there no people on Earth?" "It is a desert here. There are no people in the desert. Earth is very big," said the snake. The little prince sat down on the rock and looked up in the sky. "I wonder," he said, "if the stars are lit up, there's each of us can find his own someday. Look at my planet. It's just overhead, but so far away." "It's lovely," the snake said. "What have you come to Earth for?" "I'm having difficulties with a flower," the little prince said. "Ah," said the snake. And they were both silent. "Where are the people?" the little prince finally resumed the conversation. "It's a little lonely in the deserts." "It's also lonely with people," said the snake. The little prince looked at the snake for a long time. "You're a funny creature," he said at last. "No thicker than a finger." "But I'm more powerful than a king's finger," the snake said. The little prince smiled. "You're not very powerful. You don't even have feet. You couldn't travel very far." "I can take you further than a ship," the snake said. He coiled around the little prince's ankle like a golden bracelet. "Anyone I touch, I send back to the land from which he came," the snake went on. "But you're innocent. You come from a star." The little prince made no reply. "I feel sorry for you being so weak on this granite Earth." "I feel so sorry for you being so weak on this planet Earth," said the snake. "I can help you someday if you grow too homesick of your planet. I can—" "Oh, I understand just what you mean," said the little prince. "But why do you always speak in riddles?" "I solved them all," said the snake, and they were both silent. Chapter 18. The little prince crossed the desert and encountered only one flower, a flower with 3 petals, a flower of no consequence. "Good morning," said the prince. "Good morning," said the flower. "Where are the people?" the little prince inquired politely. The flower had one day seen a caravan passing. "People? There are 6 or 7 of them, I believe, in existence. I caught sight of them years ago, but never know where to find them. The wind blows them away. They have no roots, which hampers them a good deal." "Goodbye," said the little prince. "Goodbye," said the flower. Chapter 19. The little prince climbed a high mountain, the only mountains he had ever known since the 3 volcanoes which came up to his knee, and he used the extinct volcanoes as a footstool. "From the mountain as high as this one," he said to himself, "I'll get a view of the whole planet and the people on it." But he saw nothing but rocky peaks as sharp as needles. "Hello," he said, just in case. "Hello, hello, hello," the echo answered. "Who are you?" said the little prince. "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" the echo answered. "Let's be friends. I'm lonely," he said. "I'm lonely, I'm lonely, I'm lonely," the echo answered. What a particular planet, he thought. That's all dry and sharp and hard, and people have no imagination. They repeat whatever you say to them. Where I live, I had a flower. She always spoke first. Chapter 20. But it so happened that the little prince, having walked a long time through the sand and rocks and snow, finally discovered a road. And all roads go to where there are people. Good morning, he said, as the blossoming rose garden. Good morning, said the roses. The little prince gazed at them. All of them looked like this flower. Who are you? He asked, astounded. We're roses, the roses said. Ah, said the little prince. He felt very happy. His flower had told him he was the only one of her kind in the whole universe, and there were 5,000 of them, just all alike, in just one garden. She would be very annoyed, he said to himself. If she saw this, she would cough terribly and pretend to be dying, to avoid being laughed at, and then pretend to be nursing her. Otherwise, she'd really let herself die in order humiliately. And then he said to himself, I thought I was rich because I had just one flower, and I was the ordinary rose, and that and my 3 volcanoes, which come up to my knee, one of which may be permanently extinct. It doesn't make me much of a prince. And he laid down in the grass and wept. Chapter 21. It was then that the fox appeared. Good morning, said the fox. Good morning, the little prince answered politely, though when he turned around he saw nothing. I'm here, the voice said, under the apple tree. Who are you? The little prince asked. You're very pretty. I'm a fox, the fox said. Come and play with me, the little prince proposed. I'm feeling so sad. I can't play with you, the fox said. I'm not tamed. Ah, excuse me, said the little prince. But upon reflection he added, what does tamed mean? You're not from around here, the fox said. What are you looking for? I'm looking for people, the little prince said. What does tamed mean? People, said the fox, have guns and they hunt. It's quite troublesome. They also raise chickens. That's the only interesting thing about them. Are you looking for chickens? No, said the little prince. I'm looking for friends. What does tamed mean? It's something that's been too often neglected. It means to create ties. To create ties? That's right, the fox said. For me, you're only a little boy, just like the 100,000 other little boys, and I have no need of you, and you have no need of me either. For you, I am only a fox like the 100,000 other foxes. But if you tame me, we'll need each other. You'll be the only boy in the world for me. I'll be the only fox in the world for you. I'm beginning to understand, the little prince said. There's a flower. I think she's tamed me. Possibly, the fox said. On Earth, one sees all kinds of things. Oh, this isn't on Earth, the little prince said. The fox seemed quite intrigued. On another planet? Yes. Are there hunters on that planet? No. Now that's interesting. And chickens? No. Nothing's perfect, sighed the fox. But he returned to his idea. My life is monotonous. I hunt chickens. People hunt me. All chickens are just alike, and all men are just alike. I'm so rather bored. But if you tame me, my life will be filled with sunshine. I know the sound of footsteps that will be different from all the rest. Other footsteps send me back underground. Yours will call me out to burrow like music, and then, look! You see the wheat fields over there? I don't eat bread. For me, wheat is of no use whatever. Wheat fields say nothing to me, which is sad. But you have hair the color of gold, so it'll be wonderful once you've tamed me. The wheat, which is golden, will remind me of you, and I'll love the sound of the wind in the wheat. The fox fell silent and stared at the little prince for a long while. Please, tame me, he said. I'd like to, the little prince replied, but I haven't much time. I have friends to find and so many things to learn. The only things you learn are the things you tame, said the fox. People haven't time to learn anything. They buy things ready-made in stores. But since there are no stores where you could buy friends, people no longer have friends. If you want a friend, tame me. What do I have to do? Said the little prince. You have to be very patient, the fox answered. First you'll sit down a little ways from me over there in the grass. I'll watch you out of the corner of my eye and you won't say anything. Language is the source of misunderstandings. But day by day you'll be able to sit a little closer. The next day the little prince returned. It would have been better to return at the same time, the fox said. For instance, if you come at 4 in the afternoon, I'll begin to be happy by 3. The closer it gets to 4, the happier I'll feel. By 4, I'll be all excited and worried. I'll discover what it costs to be happy. But if you come at any old time, I'll never know when I should prepare my heart. There must be rights. What's a right? Said the little prince. That's another thing that's been too often neglected, said the fox. It's the fact that one day is different from another day. It's 1 hour from the other hours. My hunters, for example, have a right. They dance in the village girls on Thursday, so Thursday's a wonderful day. I could take a stroll all the way to the vineyards. If the hunters danced whenever they chose, the days would just be alike, and I would have no holiday at all. That was how the little prince tamed the fox, and when the time to leave was near, "Ah," the fox said, "I shall weep." "It's your own fault," the little prince said. "I never wanted to do you any harm, but I insisted that I tame you." "Yes, of course," the fox said. "But you're going to weep," said the little prince. "Yes, of course," the fox said. "Then you should get nothing out of it." "I get something," the fox said, "because of the color of the wheat." Then he added, "Go look at the roses. Again, you'll understand that yours is the only rose in the world. Then come back to say goodbye, and I'll make you a gift of a secret." The little prince went to look at the roses again. You're not at all like my rose. You're nothing at all yet," he told them. "No one has tamed you." "No one has tamed you, and you haven't tamed anyone. You're the way my fox was. He was just a fox and 100,000 others. But I've made him my friend, and I was the only fox in the world. And all roses are humbled." And the roses were humbled. You're lovely, but you're empty," he went on. "One couldn't die for you. Of course, an ordinary passerby would think that my rose looked just like you. But my rose, all on her own, is more important than all of you together. Since she's the one I've watered, since she's the one I put under glass, since she's the one I've sheltered behind a screen, since she's the one whom I killed the caterpillars, except 2 or 3 for butterflies, since she's the one I listened to when she complained, and when she boasted, or even sometimes when she had nothing at all, she was my rose," and then went back to the fox. "Goodbye," said the fox. "Goodbye," said the fox. "Here's my secret. It's quite simple. One sees clearly only with the heart. Anything essential is invisible to the eyes." "Anything essential is visible to the eyes," the little prince repeated in order to remember. "It's the time you spent on your rose that makes your rose so important." "It's the time I spent on my rose," the little prince repeated in order to remember. "People have forgotten this truth," the fox said, "but you mustn't forget. You're becoming responsible forever that you tamed, responsible for your rose." "I'm responsible for my rose," the little prince repeated in order to remember. "Good morning," said... Chapter 22. "Good morning," said the little prince. "Good morning," said the railway switchman. "What is it you got there?" asked the little prince. "I sort the travelers into bundles of 1,000, the switchman said. "I dispatch the trains that carry 'em, sometimes with the right and sometimes with the left." And the bright little express train, roaring like thunder, shook the switchman's cabin. "What a hurry they're in," said the little prince. "What are they looking for?" "Not even the engineer on the locomotive knows," the switchman said. Another brightly lit express train thundered by in the opposite direction. "Are they coming back already?" asked the little prince. "It's not the same ones," the switchman said. "It's an exchange." "They weren't satisfied where they were?" asked the little prince. "No one's ever satisfied where he is," the switchman said. And the third brightly lit express train thundered past. "Are they chasing the first travelers?" asked the little prince. "They're not chasing anything," the switchman said. "They're sleeping in there, or else they're yawning. Only the children are pressing their noses against the window panes." Only the children know what they're looking for," said the little prince. "They spend all their time with a rag doll, and sometimes it's very important. It's taken away from them, they cry." "They're lucky," the switchman said. The switchman says what the switchman says, and I'm not the switchman. And with that ends today's episode, the second to last, where next time will be the next episode. Speaking of, next time we'll be reading chapters... Oh, let me just... Oops, I'm sorry. Next time will be the final episode, where we'll be reading pages 65 to 83 and chapters 23 to 27. Dang it. Oops, sorry. Excuse me. We'll be reading pages 63 to 83 and pages 23 to 27. To 27. And with that, I hope you guys have a super fantastic, wonderful day. People like, be official. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.